I am so excited to be back here at Doddington Hall, a magnificent Elizabethan home that was built in the late 16th century and has hardly changed over the past 400 years. I'm equally excited to catch up with my great friends, James and Claire Birch. When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But it was also a little daunting. I became a Viscountess, and for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was quite a shock. I live with my husband Luke, heir to the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset. Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American Viscountess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses. Doddington stands majestically in the Lincolnshire landscape. This Elizabethan mansion was built in 1595. To the design of architect Robert Smithson. The exterior remains unchanged, with the interiors reimagined during the Georgian period. Doddington is the family home to James and Claire Birch. Their vision has transformed the hall and estate into a destination, with its cafes, farm shop, retail offerings, events, nature recovery project, the list goes on.
Hi, Julie.
Hello.
We weren't expecting you, so that's great.
My goodness, it is so nice to see you both, and it's so nice to be back.
Great. Well, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. It's been way too long. So, but you know, it's bustling here. It's busy. It's, you know,
it's
dynamic
good.
duo.
It's good. Come
right
and sit down and we'll catch up over some coffee and see where you want to go.
I want to hear all that you've been up to since I last
Let's come in the kitchen here and we'll just
was here.
a bit warmer.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm just going to put the kettle on.
Perfect. Oh, lovely kitchen, lovely day. You have like an empire here. I arrived, I'm like, oh my gosh, Claire and James, once again. The people are coming. I mean, I had to, be careful crossing the road. There were so many people turning in.
That's the busy road.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect.
You covered that.
Yeah,
All right,
good.
brilliant.
Come and have a seat, Julie. Why don't you
Okay,
go there?
perfect. Gosh. Oh, so wonderful to be here, but I'm going to just fire away at questions because I want to know. I have to say, it's one of my favorite houses, probably because of both of you, but you are just this power couple, dynamic duo. You are. I've seen you give lectures. It's amazing what the two of you have done. And I guess I kind of want to rewind and go back to, if I can, kind of the beginning. And now we don't have a lot of time, but the beginning of, you took over and you thought, I'm in the heritage sector now. What are we going to do? And because you have built this amazing destination from what it had been to what it is now.
We were just led by our noses and what we were interested in. Plus the fact there were some grants around and you had some savings as well. So first thing we did was actually get a grant to restore our walled kitchen garden. And there's because I felt it would be a great visitor attraction. It was a time when everyone was suddenly interested in low food miles and local produce, and we didn't have a tea room at that point. We had
no tea room.
So we had no tea room and no real shop or anything. So the farm shop and cafe seemed like an obvious thing to do to showcase the fruit and veg, and also so visitors had somewhere to go. But that wasn't just going to rely on the visitors coming to the house. It was going to be open, most days of the year, whereas the house is only open a few days a year. And we luckily got a grant from the EU for 30% of the building costs of the farm shop and cafe.
Wow.
But I think a lot of it has been incremental. So what we've tended to do is do a big project every couple of years, and we've been patient with them. They've often, taken a while to work.
Right.
And we have just done things incrementally over 15 years now.
Right.
And so you can look back and say, why did we plan this? And actually, the plans have been quite short, and often the successes have been taken a while to happen. I mean, the farm shop was a disaster for the first 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were one of the pioneers in the farm shops, because as you said, when was that, 10 years ago, 12 years ago? That was when farm shops...
2007, so...
Right.
Yeah.
50,
more than that,
oh my
15,
gosh, more 17,
years
18 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's when farm shops in this country were really starting, slowly, and we didn't know if they were going to work or not work.
Well, the main reason it didn't work is we didn't really know how to run a shop. It was only started working we actually hired somebody who knew how to run a shop. I'd never run a shop before I was running the thing. I remember the first day thinking, oh God, I really hope nobody buys anything, because I have to reorder everything. I just didn't have a clue. I knew how I wanted to look and the kind of things we wanted to sell. But as far as keeping it stocked and making sure we weren't wasting money moving stuff around.
But so you both though came into this thinking, we've got to make this more commercial, because was it just that the house was open to the public? Maybe you're doing some weddings like many of the historic houses are doing, and you thought we should branch out?
Well, the problem was my parents had tried for 30 years to try and make money through basically the house opening and events in the house.
Right.
And they'd never had capital to invest in tea room or anything like that. And I think in 2 years out of that 30 years, they actually kind of made enough money with the house opening to cover the running costs of the house. Wow. The rest of the time, they were relying on the farm, which was becoming increasingly difficult by the time we took over.
Right.
And, we'll tell you later, but, very difficult. So we've had to really think about the farm in more recent years.
And we have a relatively good position where we have Lincoln, which is 140,000 people, which is, a good source of most of the people who come here. But then we don't have huge competition from other houses or locations. So it seems, it's not easy. I promise you, nothing we do is straightforward. But relatively, it could be worse.
No, I think we're really lucky with that.
And you looked at that. You, of course, looked at that and thought,
so whenever we've done anything, we've always looked hard at the competition. So our bike shop, in some ways, is the outlier. And the reason we're successful is we have no competition for an hour's drive. So it's a long way to find another bike shop.
Incredible.
But that was another development that was entirely just because we liked biking.
Yeah.
Right.
And, so we didn't have a master plan. It's kind of gone organically with things that kind of tickle our fancy.
But also things that you're interested in.
Things that fit.
But there are things that not everything's worked. So, and we've thought of lots of things we haven't done, but we had a toy shop which was pretty much a disaster.
Right. I think the fact that we've been selling Christmas trees for about 40 years did give us faith that people would come out to buy a premium priced product that was locally grown. That was one of the things we felt gave us some confidence in the farm shop, for instance.
Right.
The month of December is our most important trading month, whereas a lot of historic houses are shut down.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, because we have Christmas decorations in the house.
Yes.
Our retail goes crazy, our catering goes crazy in December. So we particularly hate December. But
we sell trees and decorations.
And trees and decorations. So it's really just so that's sort of, can I say that in one sense it's kind of phase one that's evolved? Walled garden, cafe, shop, bike shop, and then putting that sort of together, and that's that courtyard area there.
The catering is really important. Okay, so we have we have 2 standalone cafes, and then we have a big wedding and events business.
Okay.
So our biggest employer on the site is catering, and I can't tell you how many. It's probably 60 or 70 people who are employed at some point during the week in catering.
Really? And that became part of the business because you were doing events here?
That's what you need. If you have a visitor attraction, the second most important thing after the parking is the cups of coffee and the loos. Right, and basically, if you don't do those 3 things right, you're in trouble.
But James, if the house was to be, closed down and nobody was going around the house, those businesses would still be viable without the house. They're not dependent on the house.
Yeah.
They're completely not dependent on the house. We've got critical mass now, people will come. The house is an important backdrop to it all.
Yes.
And if you ask people why they like coming, it's because it's a nice olden days looking place and they like they can't tell you much about the history, but they like the feel of the place.
Right.
And it's an important backdrop. But it's not business critical. And in fact, if a management consultant came, they'd say, you've got these businesses that are all great, but there's this black hole in the middle, i.e. the house, you should probably just get rid of that.
We're not going to get rid of it, though.
No, obviously not.
But Dodington has become a real destination. You're coming here, you're going to the farm shop, you've got a couple cafes, huge cafes, bike shop, other stores, paddle. But then on the wider estate, you are now rewilding. Your nature recovery, giving the land back to nature to do its thing. And when did that start and why did you decide to make that decision?
I think a lot of it was around the fact that our farm was really, really struggling. So while we were doing all those diversifications that you've mentioned, we were trying to do them as sustainably as possible. It's something I've been passionate about for a long time, but the farm was contracted out. We weren't really thinking about that. I hadn't really sort of put two and two together that we could actually do stuff with our own land around climate and biodiversity. But then our farm, the contract ended, it came back into hand. It had been farmed by someone else for us while we were so busy with everything else. And it was really difficult. We were leaving the EU, so the subsidies that we'd been paid were being taken away. And at the same time, all the costs were going through the roof, all the chemicals, all the diesel, and the yields were all over the place because we were having these extreme weather events. I mean, we really were seeing the impact of climate change. So the farm, having been something that contributed sometimes to the overdraft and what paid off problems for us, was becoming a liability. And we were only breaking even with that subsidy, and that subsidy was being taken away. So we started thinking, well, this is not great. And then on the more positive side, we saw that some other people were doing stuff with their farms around letting nature recover and then building on top of that sort of nature-based tourism, nature-based well-being and all these kind of income streams. And we felt, because we had so many people coming here anyway, we reckon we have 250 or 300,000 visits a year, some of them multiple times by the same person, but that's a huge amount of people. So I thought, well, if we started doing a kind of rewilding type project here, not only can we do great stuff for nature and for climate, but actually we're going to be able to show a lot of people and inspire a lot of people and hopefully have a much wider impact. So we felt not worried about taking our land, which was only very marginal land, only producing grains for intensively reared, factory reared pork and poultry out of production, and focusing on producing really sustainable beef and venison and wild things from the farm, and biodiversity and carbon sequestration, and hopefully inspiring other people by coming to see what was going on to take that back into their own lives, whether it's their window box or their churchyard or the stuffy bed at the back of the playground. There's stuff people could do and take home from that.
And so one of our challenges now is to integrate the farm into the tourist operation. So we want to have the visitors who come to see Doddington and the shops and stuff to go beyond the car park to actually have access.
Go on safari.
Yeah, and in various different organised ways, school children, adults,
community groups.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of people who live in Lincoln who would never dream of coming to Doddington, but they might have all sorts of issues with mental health or that actually coming out to the countryside can be really beneficial for. And we've piloted visits from these groups and they absolutely love it.
But, the two of you also have been at this for how many years?
2006, I'd say.
6 or 7, 15 years.
15 years. And of course, in that time of you're creating this destination, you then take on the reins of president of the association, which was back then called the HHA, Historic Houses Association. You've changed that. You came in, you were this sort of modern president, and you're like, right, I'm going to rebrand us, and we're just the HH, Historic Houses.
Historic Houses, yes.
Yeah,
and
clever. Yeah.
I think it was a good moment. Every generation you need to change things a little bit. But it's a great organisation. So the most important thing is the 300 or 400 open houses, and then there are probably another 1,000 houses that are not open to the public regularly, get to share information, ideas, a community, and so in sort of success and hardship, we're able to share what happens, and in a way, what we're talking about today is the heart of the organisation. And then we also have a big membership of people who through their annual membership get to visit houses for free, and that group has risen from about 20,000 when I started to, I think now more like 70,000. So that's a good improvement. So it's exciting.
But I think one of the most brilliant things James did when he was doing that was apparently there had never been a human being on the front of the magazine, the Historic Housing magazine, until James took it on. But you started telling the story. These are all privately owned houses they're lived in. And that's what the USP is. That's what's different about them. And you realised that, and you started insisting that we tell that story better. Yeah. Because that's the first thing people do when they come into this house, is they look at the photographs.
Of course they
want
do.
to see the family. Yep. That they love the fact that there's sort of someone's trainers in the porch or whatever. And that's what it's all about. And nobody had really ever sort of crystallised that USP. And I think that's what was so brilliant.
These are lived in, privately owned houses that are open to the public, the 300 or 400 that we mentioned, that are open to the public. So I'm a visitor, I can come in, but also knowing that the story didn't stop 200 years ago. The story is still being told, looking at the photographs. Oh my gosh, you mean the owners who live here now, they were married here in the church and they had their reception inside, and I think that's, at Mapperton, we were married in the church, we had the reception inside the house. People love that. Love it.
And if you meet someone in the garden and they realise you involved, they say the first question they ask is, do you actually live here? Yeah. And I say, yes, that's my bedroom window. Right. And they say, well, how can you live here? And people are really interested in literally how people live in an old building. And that's the fascination.
Yeah, it is. And they want to understand, gosh, the upkeep, and wow, this is, and I think more and more, because they are being educated through, if they are a member of HH in particular, if you become a member, you are educated on the craftsmanship that needs to happen on all of these houses, whether it's the stonemason or the lead windows, or, it's making sure that what we do, because they're listed homes, is like for like. And the other thing I do want to mention is, because I have luckily seen it before, I'm not going to deny that here, but the military, which we're going to go look at, the uniforms, which we're going to let the audience see. Yeah. It's astounding. I mean, I can't wait to see it again.
And I'll tell you it as simply as I can, because until you see it, it's hard to explain. But I was given a collection by an American collector of 900 British military uniforms just before COVID. He had collected them in his lifetime. He was unwell with Parkinson's disease, and his sort of wish was that the collection should come back to the UK, because they're mainly British, and should come back in one piece. And he was turned down by all the museums because they just had too much stuff.
They were worried about things like moths and conservation.
Minor issue, yeah. Anyway, so his best friend, who was English and had been a soldier, went round a series of next level potential custodians, and he realised that the historic houses were potentially a source, because there had been a few military museums in historic houses, and I was one of the people who was contacted. I was the only one who showed any interest. I happened to be going to Boston, which was near where the collection was. The collection was in a farmhouse in New Hampshire, and I thought I'll go and see it. And after a day of looking at it, I was still confused, and it was a sort of 50-50 decision. And his wife rang me and said, if you don't take it, it's going on eBay. And I thought, obviously, I'd better take it.
Right.
But I didn't have total support from Claire at that point.
So, did James come back from Boston and be like, hi?
He said, how do you like the idea of having a military uniform collection, an 800 military? And I just said, you've got to be kidding. What's that got to do with Doddington? It's all about sustainability.
We were all soldiers. Everyone was a soldier. All the men.
Yeah, I said, it's completely off-brand. Why is nobody's going to be interested in military history? You didn't even collect it yourself. You said, acquiring someone else's collection is not the same as collecting it yourself.
Every collection comes from somewhere else. Yeah.
Anyway, I said, if they arrive, I'm going.
Well, they did. Technically, they didn't arrive. They were in a container on a farmyard for a while.
And then
So
I
you didn't tell
discovered.
Claire. So you ship them over.
Yeah.
You put them in a container.
Yeah, no, they were in the container, they'd been shipped in. And then I went down to the basement. He'd left his little man cave door open. And in the basement was all this sort of red and gold stuff. And I suddenly realized, I said, what's that? And everyone started sniggering. Literally, everyone on the estate, our children, everyone knew that these containers of uniforms were here, except for me.
It was a very well-kept secret. But it was a great COVID project. So we had, it was in,
Well,
the collection was in
you.
460 boxes. And so every day during COVID, I could open a box. It was
It's
like
like
having
Christmas.
Christmas.
I can't deal.
But the tragedy was he couldn't fit into any of them. He couldn't fit into any of them, except
not
the
true.
really boring,
No,
very
the
fat
generals.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
the fat general.
They're
That-
rubbish. They're the most interesting ones. Yeah.
Wait, okay, so Claire, how did you then get your head around it? Were you like, it's here? Did you unpack any
Well,
of
it
the
was
boxes
great. It
yourself?
kept him quiet and busy for many days. Unpacking it was I kind of was in slight denial. And then I went in and looked. And actually, even though I'm literally not at all interested in military history, the craftsmanship and the work
Right,
and the
right.
whole fashion story is fascinating. And just
Yeah.
the sheer wealth, the quantity of stuff is, you know, gobsmacking. I know you hate that phrase,
Yeah.
but, you know, it is really astounding, as you
Right.
said. And so it's his
yeah.
little project, and we were at the time we'd got a grant to build this big barn to house my father's collection of vernacular farm wagons from around the UK.
Right,
from
that's
the
right. I
19th
remember, I've
century.
seen-
They're really beautiful.
yeah.
And James had this idea of kind of putting, instead of having it open to the east, putting a floor in.
Yeah.
And so suddenly there was this huge space where the uniforms could go.
And
So
they fit in well. Yeah.
they fit in well.
Okay, and it's open to the public.
It's just about to be open to the public
Well-
more regularly, so it's open by appointment at the moment. Because the problem is there are a lot of swords and delicate things which you don't want
Health and safety,
12-year-old
yeah.
boys running around with.
Only
Okay,
ever
yeah.
going to be able to be small groups.
Yeah, it'd be
being
pretty
shown around.
supervised. Yeah.
Right, and pre-supervised. Okay, well, we're
When,
gonna.
when we see it, you'll understand why. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I mean, I did get a glimpse before, but
Yeah.
you know, I can't wait for it to take my breath away again.
Good.
And the story is priceless. Right. What I would love is just to have a quick tour of, you know, a few rooms here at Dodington. How many rooms? I mean, I asked that to all historic house owners. I know it's hard to quantify that, but give me a rough estimate because it's 4 stories.
No,
Or
3
is-
stories.
4 with basement. Yeah.
There isn't a basement.
2 basements. You've never been
There's
down there.
2 rooms in one end of the house and a really scruffy cellar. It's not a basement like one of those big
wine
houses.
cellar.
with a
No,
basement.
but you've got, when I'm saying stories, was I'm doing
Yeah.
the American way.
It's
You've
not
got
a-
ground floor, first floor, second floor.
And then we have some mezzanine.
okay.
No, Claire, we have 2 mezzanine floors. It's a really complicated house. So from the
See?
outside, it looks like 3.
Yeah.
But on the private, what was the staff side, there are staff bedrooms on half-height rooms.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a complicated house.
So this ceiling's
3.5.
quite low and there's a bedroom above it, whereas the next door room goes the full height.
I see. Okay.
But anyway, in the main part of the house that the visitors come to,
Yeah.
there's 1 big room on each floor and 2 rooms on the wing where the bit sticks out on each floor, basically. So there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 10 biggish rooms plus a couple of smaller rooms that people visit.
Okay.
And there's probably another 20 this side of the
But
house.
the reason
Right.
for that is the Elizabethans didn't have these vast hordes of servants. They couldn't have, they weren't in the position to have huge amounts of
I think they
domestic.
just shared bedrooms.
Well, yes, but you didn't. There's a sudden transition in Georgian times, and then particularly in Victorian times, where everybody has to have a maid and
Right.
a valet, and so you don't have in Georgia. I mean, in Elizabethan houses, you just don't have these huge numbers of bedrooms because either they share them, or
Right.
they live out, or they just don't have them. So
Right.
we're relatively short of bedrooms. We only have 7 or 8 working bedrooms for a house of this size.
Right. Okay. And then, but you've got, obviously you live on one side of the house or in one area, and the children all grew up here, didn't they? So,
Well,
or
we
you-
moved here when they were kind of 13,
Yeah.
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
They all
Okay.
have bedrooms. Yeah.
Yeah. So should we go have just a, we can just do a whistle stop tour. It'd
Yeah.
be lovely just to see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Let's
Okay,
do
great. Let's go.
So,
Lovely.
Julie, you'll remember we think Doddington is special because on the outside it's an unchanged house built in 1595 by Robert Smithson, the great early Elizabethan architect, and then on the inside it's more like 1760. So it's a refit on the inside, but the exterior is really unchanged.
Yeah, the exterior is, and you have so many windows too.
It was a huge change in the architectural style in the late Elizabethan property boom. Everyone got rich and extravagant, basically.
Right, and they thought, well, we're going to let the light in,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. So Georgian interiors, Elizabethan exterior, and pretty much stayed the same.
No, it changed it. Well, the basic decorative scheme stays the same, but there's stuff from every generation. So
Yeah.
everyone contributes and takes away, we think.
Love that.
So Claire, I mean, discuss the table.
So these are Cromwellian chairs from about 1690.
No, 1660.
1660.
Wow.
And but this table, although it looks very old, was made from for my parents' 25th wedding anniversary. My father designed it, and it was made from a single oak tree from the estate. So that's rather lovely.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
So you basically have Cromwell, 17th century meets sort of
Yeah.
So you have
20th century.
nearly 400 years between the two
Unbelievable.
items.
And then there's lovely ceramics collected by one of my ancestors there, and then my father's modern British studio pottery, sort of 20th century.
But sitting on an even bigger gap. So these are chests probably taken from the cathedral by Thomas Taylor, who built the house. He was the lawyer for the cathedral. He probably borrowed these on a rainy Monday morning. Never gave them back.
Lincoln.
Oh, Lincoln Cathedral, right.
And the ceramics are, 500 years later. So these are about 1550, we think.
They're incredible. They're beautiful. And then, of course, you're combining sort of contemporary with
Well,
good old...
it's just the house has never been sold. It's never been cleared out in all its history. So it is just full of junk and less junky things.
No, and stories, though. That's
Yes,
what's
yes,
extraordinary.
yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful
Yeah.
stories. Ooh, lovely. Lovely, lovely.
And so,
Family-
Julie, this is the brown parlour. It's our sort of smartest sitting room, and we do use it at Christmas and when we have dinner parties and stuff.
It's super smart. And pictures of your kids.
Yeah, they're rather old.
they're all a bit grown up now. But this is the modern family, and then on both walls you have the Hussey family, who are the second family to live here between about 1620 and 1700.
Right.
And this is Elizabeth Hussey, and actually this predates the house. So this is her painted in about 1560. So this is before the house was built. Wow. And this came from Coton, probably in south of Birmingham. And she's from the Hussey family who owned the house, the second family to own it. And these are her children, but sadly the ones with the crosses above their heads died in infancy.
Oh.
So it's a slightly sad
It is.
painting.
But also it survived.
It survived,
It's amazing.
yes. Older than the house, about 1560, we think.
I mean, that is astonishing. So you've got family portraits on the wall, and then I just love, and you're right, the first thing I did, Claire, when I walked in, is I went right towards your family
But
photos.
you're going to love these, Julie, because this is YouTube. But you have to have the light behind it.
Okay.
But then you wind this, and the picture moves. This was what people entertain themselves with.
right. Moving
Oops,
picture.
I think
There
it's
we go.
very- I need to have these repaired.
Incredible.
Yeah.
This was their YouTube.
This
You're
was
right.
the YouTube. Oh
I
dear.
mean,
Bits falling
beautiful.
off.
Absolutely. I mean, beautiful. That these survived as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There are just things like that in the drawers.
Again, just reiterating, it's fantastic coming into homes like this that they're still lived in.
No, we use
Hearing
this
that
room.
you
Yeah.
use this room. There's,
do.
family photographs
Lots of
there.
Silly games.
And
of
probably lots of fond memories. But open to the public, people can
Yeah.
come and see.
It's my favourite room in the house, I think. I really love this room.
I like the name,
All those
the
memories
brown.
of silly games at Christmas.
No, yeah, no, exactly. I like the name, the brown parlor.
So, Julie, this
Wow.
is one of our two restored tapestry rooms. And Claire, explain to Julie how this happened.
Well,
It's amazing.
yeah, these tapestries are 1620s tapestries. So they were already antiques when they were chopped up and nailed to the walls in the 1760s, and basically they've been there ever since, and they were absolutely filthy. James, why don't you show Julie?
Yeah.
Julie,
So this is
what
when
they look like.
So this
out
is
of the
when we
first
washed.
wash.
This was the first wash. I mean, it's completely black
my
with coal
goodness.
dust, and this was just like one of the first written. This was after having hoovered buckets and buckets of coal dust out of them.
No.
So the coal dust from the fires was basically caked on all the fibres and basically eating into the fibres.
Oh,
so we
my
raised a lot of money
goodness.
to basically have them taken off the walls, cleaned, and
Yeah.
then conserved. And we set up the big frames where they worked on the conservation work right in the room next door, so all the visitors could see it happening, which was great.
It's great.
Although we had to train our volunteers to do the interpretation because the stitchers couldn't actually keep stitching while they were talking to people. I don't know why they couldn't stitch.
Right, so many people were asking questions
Yes,
because they're
we
fascinated.
Yeah, so anyway, but it was good. So
But that was 3 women sewing for 3 years.
yeah.
You're kidding
yeah,
me.
No,
Yeah,
it was a
yeah,
long,
yeah.
long,
Oh
very
my
long.
goodness.
And then we
Look
stuck
at
them back to the walls using Velcro.
Okay.
So if we have any
So-
dramas in the future and they need more work or cleaning or whatever, and they've got a linen backing so the moths can't get at them from behind. And so they're fantastic. And then I think the final thing was this lighting. We got this, new LED lighting is just so great. And they just sing now. They're very, very full of life and colour.
Right. So when they were, being conserved and that black was being, taken away, were there elements and motifs from the tapestries that you said, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was there?
No, the faces and all the detail. I mean,
This-
of course, the colour's gone from the UV. So, so in fact, where you see underneath the skirting boards where it's been protected from the UV light, there's much more red. So basically, the red has gone.
Okay.
There's the reds and pinks.
And there's some sort of joke stuff going on. So this guy smoking his pipe is actually very visibly sitting on his shotgun, which is unfortunate. But anyway, they obviously had fun with the design.
That is just brilliant.
They're
Gosh.
really lovely, really lovely. There were originally 3 rooms with these tapestries on. The second one we've done. The third one, sadly, the tapestries were sold in the 1920s.
Okay.
I don't know quite why, whether they were in worse condition. I'd love to get them back. It would be amazing. And it was called the Battle of the Beasts in there, and there were all sorts of animals. We've got 1 unicorn left, which we can show you. And actually, I want to show you that room because I know you've got some textile conservation headaches, and I want to tell you a little story about a bed.
Okay.
Come on
Yes,
up,
yes.
look. This is a textile conservation story. So this is the one remaining tapestry from the lot that was in this room, which is, the wonderful unicorn scaring all the nasty beasts off. And then in this room, sadly, no tapestries, but this incredible bed, which is a Georgian bed. And it was originally at Seaton Delaval, which is a big house up near Newcastle that was also owned by the family. And it was brought down to Dodington in the 1760s, probably again as part of this redecoration.
Okay.
And basically it was restored in the 1970s. And what they did was they just got like nylon gauze and they glued it to the fabric to hold it together, to stop it falling apart. Anyway, this was failing and the curtains were just shredding and falling apart. So I approached the National Trust to have this fantastic textile conservation studio. And I said, how much would it cost to restore the bed? And they said, if you pay us £3,000, we'll do a quote to restore the bed. And I thought, this is just ridiculous.
You've got to be kidding me.
Absolutely crazy. So I started researching the silk, which is called Spitalfields silk. And it was originally woven in Spitalfields in London. But all those weavers, not all of them, but a lot of them moved to Sudbury in Suffolk. And they're still weaving these silks. And I sent some photographs of the pattern that we had. And they said, oh yeah, we still got that pattern. They're very narrow looms. So for about £3,000, rather less than £3,000, I got enough silk woven to basically replace the curtains in the front. So I've only done, the rest you can see. Now, if you look closely, it's obviously a different colour. And there were so many different variations of the pink, I had to choose one to go for. But basically, they wove this silk new for me.
Wow!
And then I just got the old braid and stitched it on by hand. So I kept the old braid from the old ones.
Did you stitch this yourself?
Yeah.
What?
So I made the curtains. And you can see here, these are the ones that are splitting. These ones are splitting. Look.
Yeah. Yep. So those are the next ones to do.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to do them next. And, you know, I was a bit worried about it, and we asked somebody who's a specialist in old furniture. I said, should I do this? You know, should we be just trying to restore the old silk? He said, no, this is ridiculous. This bed's been cut down. It would have been taller originally.
What?
So in the original room in Northumberland, in Seaton Delaval, apparently it was a lot taller. He could tell it had been cut down in height. He said pieces of furniture like this move from place to place with the family. They put new curtains on and they redid the thing. They wanted a different style. He said, don't worry, just make new curtains. Don't be too precious about it. You shouldn't be too precious about it. It's a living house. And this is what you're doing.
And this is what you're doing. And then someone's going to tell the story that you just told me.
Exactly.
How wonderful. So you've got the back to do. You're
all right.
No. I'm just,
yes,
and then what about... What is
well, I mean, God knows. I don't know how I do that.
Yeah, how do you do that?
I have no idea. But, you know, maybe I can't do that. But you know, at least we've kind of stabilised the very worst bits. And, you know.
It is a beautiful...
So it's a fab bed.
It is a beautiful bed.
It is sad that I would give my right arm to get the tapestries that were originally in here back.
Do you know where
I've got one blurred photograph of them and evidence that they were sold from an auction house that doesn't exist anymore in Gainsborough, about 10 miles away, but that's all.
For not a lot of money, I don't think.
No, sadly.
Right.
Anyway, they're probably been destroyed by now by their own dirt.
It's a lovely paint colour.
Yeah, I know, it's good.
New paint colour.
Yeah.
What is it called? Brinjal or something?
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It's good.
That is a fantastic story. So you sew as well?
Yeah, well, I went to a very old-fashioned school. We were taught to sew.
Oh my goodness,
Our
Claire,
curtains,
what can't you do?
Not beyond me.
That's amazing.
So, Julie, let's take you and see the long gallery.
Up another floor.
Up another floor.
Now you can feel the stairs really shaking here.
Yeah.
Because that's the stability issue.
You can see there is definitely a slant here
Oh,
as
I can
well.
see that just from here, but if you point it out.
So we just worry about having, you know, if we have a big event, or a wedding or concert, it's not so much the floor in the long gallery, it's just whether the stairs can take everything.
Yes, no, exactly.
So, Julie, do you remember our long gallery?
I do.
This is our sort of grandest room.
That's right.
And it was a classic Elizabethan long gallery for the ladies to exercise inside.
That's right.
And then the Georgians covered the windows on this side for all their paintings.
Okay.
And I think since you were last here, we've had this painting restored. And this is one of these stories that slightly backfires. So we thought this was an expensive painting by valuable painting by Guido Reni. We took it to this very expensive restorer, and they spent 6 months restoring it. At the end of the 6 months, they sent us a bill for £30,000, and then they told us it wasn't a Guido Reni and it was worth less than £30,000. So we've had a downgrade and a big bill. So it doesn't always work out, this antiques business.
But we think this painting must have looked amazing because this room was originally peacock blue. Okay, so we've got old paint scrapings I can show you.
Right.
And so you can imagine the tapestry room's quite dark, the wallpaper in the room underneath, and then this peacock blue with this painting. It's pretty extraordinary. It must have been quite a strong look.
Right, yeah. Do you ever think about going back to that
Well,
strong
funny enough,
look?
I didn't. I mean, originally, one of the first things we did was this had been yellow since the 1970s, and we repainted a slightly paler yellow. And we did discuss going for the peacock blue back in 2006, and I just thought, no way.
Would have been very
But
cold.
funny now, I would consider it a taste of change again, haven't they?
Tastes have changed. I mean, it's a lovely yellow, don't get me wrong.
No, but it has.
But now that I see this,
I know, would
this
be really.
picture
It
here,
would be
you
quite
think
dramatic.
I might go for it,
Yeah, I have a feeling you will.
And then at the other end of the gallery, there's a happier painting story. So this is Joshua Reynolds' largest ever painting, and it's of the Countess, the Earl and Countess of Mexborough, and the Countess is Sarah Delaval, so she's the youngest of the 12 Delaval children, and they're on their way to the coronation of George III in the 1760s, and that's why they're so dressed up.
She is beautiful. So this is Reynolds' largest painting.
I think there's one at Blenheim which I looked at and I think is very close, but this is I think
competition, of course.
it's a competition. This is the biggest and definitely one of his best. And she there is young. She's 20, I think, and then she's repainted by Sarah Reed, who's a female portraitist, aged about 30 on the other side.
On the other side.
And that actually currently is a replica because the original is at the Tate on exhibition.
Oh, you've loaned it out.
Yeah.
Okay, well done.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, beautiful. She was stunning. So she was the youngest of 12.
Yes.
Is that right?
7 boys and 5 girls.
And her brother was the one who redecorated this house in the 1760s.
Okay.
And again,
okay.
the 12 children failed to produce a single male heir, a surviving male heir, which is why the family name changes again. So the Delavalles die out, and then it becomes a Jarvis house, as in Claire, my wife.
Right, no, exactly. So that's so interesting. So all 12 children, nobody produced an heir.
Well, the
Well,
boys
there was one who died.
Yes, no, they
Just
what I'm
before
saying,
his
they
21st birthday.
they didn't survive. So then
They didn't survive.
it was left to one of the nieces, who then was about to marry your great-great-grandfather. She died of tuberculosis, but she left the house to
The great
Colonel Jarvis anyway.
Her too.
Yeah.
He was quite well to do, so that was a good thing.
So that's a break. That's the only break in the bloodline.
Okay,
So the
I
names change quite often, but
Right.
they were a very dashing but unlucky family.
Yes, because look at, I mean, she has a little one right there.
Yeah.
Who
A boy.
a boy.
Yeah, they would dress them in dresses until they were about 7 or 8.
It's and wonderful that it's, there's an American connection there. They're on the way to their coronation of George III, who is the king in charge
course,
of,
yes.
the War of Independence.
Who
Or-
gives away
Yeah.
country.
And then this is the setting, so we use this room for concerts and weddings and exhibitions sometimes, and playing. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to roller skate up and down here. We played badminton in here, that kind of thing. I remember having those Scalextrics, those cars.
Yeah.
We used to play, yeah.
How
So,
much fun.
I mean, the old days, it was considered quite unhealthy to go outside.
right, yeah.
So it would be best to take your exercise inside.
Right, of
So
course,
this
of
is
course.
what people would
And
walk
so it
up
became
and
a
down.
roller skating
They'd
rink.
get their paces up.
and of course, earlier than that, yes, you just go up and down and up and down. Extraordinary that these long galleries were built really for exercise.
Yeah, yeah. And for showing off paintings, I think.
Yeah, but lovely room. But I think peacock blue is
Yeah.
what's going to
That's
happen.
the paint scrape. That's the original
Oh,
colour.
I see.
Yeah.
That,
So it's really quite a strong colour.
it is a strong color. I have a feeling when I next come back, it's going to be
Maybe.
peacock blue. Ooh, yes.
Right, let's keep
Okay.
going.
The unique uniform collection on long-term loan to Doddington is housed in a purpose-built barn and is truly a sight to behold.
Okay, James, I mean, this is insane. I don't even know where to start. Wait, how did you get all this stuff over here?
It came in a shipping container in 460 boxes. And during COVID, we opened 1 box every day, which is like Christmas every day.
Was that your plan? We're like, that's it, just 1 box every day.
Well,
I'm
no,
gonna
because
stick with
when
it.
we made the decision, we didn't know about the pandemic. But anyway, so what you're looking at, Julie, is about 900 British Army uniforms, mainly officers, almost all tailor-made in the great London tailor shop, Savile Row. It's mainly the ceremonial end of the dress code. So most regiments would have 12 or 13 dress codes. These would be the smarter, the senior 4. So ceremonial, blues, service dress and mess kit. And what we think the collector was trying to do is collect those 4 senior dress codes of about 200 British regiments that existed in basically at the beginning of the First World War. So I'd say the centre point of the collection is 1914.
Okay.
But it ranges from 1881 to
Does it?
1945.
Really?
So quite a narrow period, 70 years. And you can also think about it as Churchill's years. So Churchill's born in 1874, and he's Prime Minister through the war. So the collection covers the period that he's involved. Churchill serves in 6 different regiments in one way or another, which is remarkable. And we don't have one of his uniforms, but we have Viscount Harry Alexander, who was his favourite general during the Second World War.
You have his uniform.
We have his uniform here.
No.
And then we have lots of uniforms of regiments that Churchill was in, the 17th Lancers, the 4th Hussars, the Grenadier Guards.
Really? This is, I mean, you have it's just like hats, this chap who's collecting, that's his whole life's work was collecting.
Well,
Is that right?
he had plenty of other things going on, but
Oh.
he was rich
is
enough to
a
basically
full-time
buy
job.
anything he wanted, and so this was his mainstream hobby, particularly later in his life. And he would buy everything that came up. So anything that came up at an auction house that fitted in
Right,
his
with that.
collection, he would buy it.
Right.
And so there are duplicates because occasionally he'd buy someone else's collection.
Right.
And the
I
nice
love
thing
the
is,
hat boxes. I mean, amazing.
yeah, and actually you find boxes like this. So this I know has got a hat that corresponds to the box. So this says A.W. Campbell.
Right.
This is A.W. Campbell's hat. It's actually still got an auction tag on from when. So it says Wallace and Wallace, Great Sussex. So he bought that at an auction, and because it's a private collection, he wouldn't take the auction tag off.
Right.
But then he's got a little write-up on Lieutenant George Campbell. Actually, this is sad because this is a real coincidence. So he was born in 1884.
Yeah.
And he was killed in the Coldstream Guards, so one of the smartest regiments in the British Army, almost unworn.
Yeah, and
And
look at.
he is killed in September 1914.
Oh my goodness.
And the reason his hat's hardly worn is because he only had it. He hardly had it for.
He,
And he was enlisted in August 1913, so he owned it for a year, I suppose.
oh my gosh, but he went to Eton
Yes, New College, Oxford.
and then he went to New College, Oxford.
Yeah.
And then he was killed, died of wounds at the Ains Western Front.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
September 1914, so 100 years ago.
Look at, did you see this? Husband of Lady Moya Campbell.
And
Super smart address, Buckingham Palace Road.
yeah.
Who was this chap?
Well, we must find out.
We must find out a little bit more.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, there's a lot to find out in this collection. We
Yeah,
hardly
no,
know
I
anything.
know.
900 jackets. So we then have
900
hats, swords, belts, boots, all sorts of accessories. So we don't know how we
Coats.
probably have 3,000 items in here. Yeah.
Just like that took, a few minutes, and I just got very involved in that piece.
Yeah.
Was it hard not to get so involved in every single piece that you opened up?
I mean, we just haven't had time.
But when I look at these, I mean, it's just the detail and the craftsmanship of these uniforms. They're exquisite. I mean, absolutely, but also they're tiny. Like, look at those legs.
They were small. So that's the 4th Hussars uniform. That's the first regiment that Winston Churchill was in. He was a lieutenant, and there's a famous photograph of him wearing that uniform. And this, interestingly, is the Buckinghamshire Horse, which is the volunteer regiment that was sister to the 4th Hussars. And because they're weekend warriors, they're volunteers, they actually have an even more elaborate uniform
they
than the
do.
mainstream army. They have this crazy,
Yeah, look at that on their thigh.
what's called scrambled egg on their thighs.
But just amazing to think that this exact uniform is the one that the great Winston Churchill
and he
wore.
would have been, he was about 5'7", so he's not much different from that.
From that.
Yeah,
That chap there.
yeah.
I could just spend all day here and weeks. But what I'm also noticing is you have GR and ER for Edward VII and GR5,
Yeah.
GR6.
George V,
Yeah,
yes,
George
yeah.
V, George VI.
Yes.
So it's everywhere. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But now I'm noticing sort of a lot of Elizabeth II royalty uniform here.
This is the Guards division, the Household
Yes.
division, and you get the red jackets of the Household division, 5 different Guards regiments.
Gosh.
And this is a
This is-
royal trumpeter.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Elizabeth, so slightly post the date, and
Yeah.
the trumpet. So you would have seen these at the coronation walking behind the
Exactly.
state carriage. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then if you're a Guards officer, you'd also have a frock coat, which
Okay.
was considered a sort of dress down, although it doesn't look much of a dress
No,
down. And in fact, you may remember that Princes Harry and William both got married in frock coats. This is what they wore to their weddings. I think it's an incredibly elegant
Yes, it is.
uniform. And everyone was tiny. I mean,
I know.
people just were skinny, they were slightly underfed, they were fit, and the uniforms were cut very tightly. So very little of this uniform can be worn by modern men. In fact, of the mannequins in this room, only 2 are male. The others are female.
Wow.
So Julie, the good news
Yes.
is given your slim figure, you may be able to get into a frock coat, an early frock coat, because nobody else can wear them.
Do you have one?
I've got about 15, yeah.
Of course you
I'm sure
do.
I'll try and choose one that you can
Okay.
fit into and has some provenance of some sort.
Okay, wow. Okay, well, fingers crossed.
Yes, I've got 15, so
Okay.
I hope I can find one that fits you.
Okay.
Let's go and try and find
All
one.
right.
So Julie, I think I found one that might fit you. Let's try the hat first. And I think the hat actually has got a label in. So this says, made by Edward Smith, 1937. Yeah, actually doesn't have a name in it. It's got the maker's name in it.
Okay.
Try that on for size.
Okay. I have a really small head.
They've all
So-
shrunk slightly, and I think like the jackets, they all small.
Okay.
That looks like
it
a very,
center?
very good. Yeah, that is an
It's a
excellent,
good fit.
excellent fit.
Yeah.
Very, very elegant hat.
Yeah.
And then I'm also guessing here.
Wow.
Try this.
So elegant. Okay,
Let's
yeah,
just see
let's
if
go
it fits
here.
before I start telling you whose it was.
Okay. Where's my, okay, yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
So again,
Okay, so
you're
I've
in
got
the Grenadier Guards, and you're a major, and this is 1920, and it's made for Lord Ardale, and importantly, he wins a military cross, which is a really good medal.
Wow.
So it's that purple and white medal in 1915. So you've survived the war.
Oh, did super. In
Yeah.
1915, is that
He won the medal in 1915, but the jacket is made in 1920, so after the war.
So after the war, okay.
Yeah, so he's still in the army.
It's warm.
You look like a proper guards officer. I should also say you're missing a sash,
Okay.
and it would be a red sash normally or a gold sash in the presence of the sovereign.
Okay.
And you also need a sword, which would be a Grenadier Guards sword. So there's some more accessories to
Right.
come. We also know that
So-
it belonged
yeah.
to Lord Ardale. I don't recognise his name, but presumably he has ancestors. So we could also find, and having won a military cross, he'll be well documented. And
Yes.
we can find out. And made by Jones and Pegg, and they have a new partner after that. I can't remember who the partner is, but well-known tailor as well.
Yes.
They might even have records in the tailors.
Do you have people coming here who email you and say, right, I know you have this huge collection and you might have some names. Do you know if my grandfather or great-grandfather has his uniform here? Or
Well, so far we don't have many because not many people know about this.
Right.
And we also don't have the capacity to do it. But we are going to have a new cataloguing system.
Yes, I was going to ask
whereby
about that.
You'll have regiment, item, tailor, owner, and then you'll be able to you'll be able to search by name.
Exactly.
And then we'll be able to say if you're looking for Montague or Hinchingbrook, you'll be able to scan and see if we have got one in. I'm sure we'll definitely have a Montague uniform in here for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I can almost guarantee you we'll have
Okay.
one.
Well, when you do come across that, let me know. I'll come back and I'll
Yeah.
try it on and I'll wear it and hopefully it'll fit.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks, James.
All right.
What a treat.
The Doddington visitor experience encourages people to discover and understand the natural landscape of the wider estate. James and Claire have an ambitious 100-year vision to create a haven for nature to thrive.
James, Claire, you've put me in a really tight corner here. I mean, both of you should know that I've got bovine phobia.
These are the nicest, friendliest cows in the whole world, Julie. You're going to be fine, okay?
I have fear right now, and that one right there is definitely staring at me. But you both are super comfortable.
Well, we've had them for 10 years.
They're very, very gentle breed. They're Lincoln Reds. They're the local breed. They're
pretty.
bred to be a multi-purpose breed for milk and for beef, and they're incredibly docile. They're not like the modern dairy breeds. The breeds that can be nasty are the modern dairy breeds.
Okay, well, I found a tree just in case I need to climb up it. I mean, they are getting a bit closer, and they're walking towards me. But this is part of your rewilding project. See, if these were the white part cattle, because that's what we have at Matmerton, I would be much more afraid because they've got the big long horns. But these do look a little bit more
They're cuddly, yeah.
timid. So tell me a little bit about Wilder Doddington, and when did you start your rewilding project, and where are we today?
So we're 3 years in, and 3 years ago this would have been a wheat field, and you can see what it looks like today. Very, very different.
Yes.
But I'm going to let Claire explain why we're doing it.
Well, the other thing I'd say is that it wasn't just growing wheat for bread. It was all we were growing on our farm, because it's very marginal land, was grain for intensively reared, sort of factory reared pork and poultry.
Right.
unfortunately, it was getting increasingly difficult to produce that because the climate's changing. We have a very volatile climate. Price of all the inputs were going up, and we're really having to think again about what we could do. And because we have a lot of people coming to Dodington, if we did something around nature, we could actually have some amazing social benefit as well. We could be a really public place where people could learn about nature recovery, the kind of ecosystems that have the best biodiversity, and really start talking about sustainability, climate change, biodiversity, all these crises we're facing to our huge audience here at Dodington. So it's a combination of push factors, and then we felt that because of our situation where we are, how many people come here, that there was this kind of opportunity to do something for nature, but in a very public way, and try and inspire other people, whether in their own lives or other landowners, to kind of go go for it and do stuff themselves.
No, exactly. And it's about getting people out in nature. I think that's one of the major benefits of, I think, Rewilding project. So why did you choose this cattle here, and what's their purpose?
Well, we already had a herd of Lincoln red cattle.
Okay.
This is our herd we've had for 15
years.
years.
These are commercial, so they go into our cafe, into our butchery, so this is a really important part of our business. We have 180 Lincoln Reds. Sadly, every week one of them goes to the
but
gets eaten.
They've had a good life.
Yeah,
they look happy.
And
they're creating biodiversity. They're sequestering carbon, because you can see all these little trees growing in the field. We've already got nature coming back here. And if we didn't have the animals, we'd have to either have lots and lots of people strimming to try and create clearings in what's the scrub that's going to grow everywhere, or it would just become this completely impenetrable scrub, and that's not what there always were animals. There always were animals. There were wolves moving them around. So we're the wolves, we're moving them around, and they graze and browse and create mess, and hopefully once all these birch trees that you see growing everywhere start getting really big, they'll be bashing their way through, eating. We've already seen them. They like the birch, they love the willow. We've got willow growing on some of the really wet areas, and they really like that. That's of course got aspirin in it, so we think that they're self-medicating.
But then like you, Julie, we also have pigs, we have deer, and we have ponies, Exmoor ponies. So we have four grazing species that give you the right balance between, hopefully the right balance between
exactly. And what kind of pigs are doing your roodling?
Well, I claim they're Lincolnshire curly coats. It's a little bit ambiguous. They may be Mangalitzas.
It's completely ambiguous.
No,
Lincolnshire curly coats were extinct in 1972.
But their genes were saved in a test tube and exported to Hungary. And if you feed them Lincolnshire plum loaf, they definitely like it. So I'm pretty sure they're.
Anyway, Lincolnshire curly coat, the most crazy pigs, but they had a furry curly coat like sheep. And these Mangalitzas have a very similar.
Okay.
And so that's why we chose them. But they also have lovely stripy youngsters, so the piglets look very wild. And there is quite a lot of kind of wild boar in them.
Okay,
they're
so
very much bred to manage well on really rough stuff. And in fact, if you bring them into somewhere where there's lots of food, they get incredibly fat. So it's better for them to be
They're
somewhere.
named after English queens. I think the two we're looking for out here are Victoria and Camilla, but I'm not sure. We'll see when we get there.
Okay, what is it? Camilla and Victoria?
Victoria, I think, are the two we saw there. There's a blonde one.
Yeah, well, we've named ours Sage and Onion. There you go.
So beat about the bush.
Exactly. Okay, so this is phase one, right? Sort of your rewilding project, but you touched a little bit about more access to the public, and that's kind of you're building on that. That's your phase two.
Yeah, because there's no point in, we felt we had this opportunity here at Doddington to realise the social benefits from connecting people to nature again.
Right.
And we all learned about that in COVID, didn't we? And there's so much science coming around that. We live in an area...
Oh my God, it's the pigs!
Oh, here they are.
My God.
Come on, guys.
Oh my God, they're so cute!
Come on.
Oh my God, it's the pigs!
They've got curly coats. Can you see their curly coats?
They're quite...
Okay.
Actually, funny enough, they're in their summer coats. They're not that curly at the moment.
So Camilla's the blonde one and Victoria's the dark one.
Okay, Camilla's the blonde, Victoria.
Yeah.
Oh my God, oh my God.
And they have, if you look closely, they have got you could make a fur coat out of that, couldn't you?
Oh, James, it'd be very bristly.
Oh my gosh. Wait, and they're like friendly?
Do you know what? They're in
with the cattle?
Yeah,
no
it looks
problem?
like it.
They're not normally, pigs are not normally friendly with cattle, but ours are. Look at them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at them. Okay, is this all safe, right?
Yeah, this is all safe, yeah.
Look it, come on.
They remember James, obviously.
Look.
They haven't seen him for about 18 months.
This is,
Brilliant.
it's almost as if we planned this, but actually we didn't, everybody.
Well, we did.
None of this is
No,
planned.
don't put your hands in your pockets, James. They will bite you.
They've been to drama school.
Look it.
Watch it. Honestly.
I'm being fine, but they're fine. They're fine. They're friends.
They're friends. They think he has a
Let's
cake.
scratch your curly coat. Come on. But look how furry and bristly they are.
You scared them away.
This is amazing.
You scared everyone away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Yeah, fine. We're all safe. Look it. They came. I think they really like the cattle. Or they knew that James was here. They smelled James.
They're very curious.
Look
The thing about
keep
pigs
looking
is
at you being
they
like,
can't really see very well. I think they just
their
smell.
eyesight is terrible. They basically rely entirely on sound and smell.
You know, the same with the Tamworth.
Yeah, watch out, because they...
I'm going to bring you
Isabel got a very bad push from one of them the other day.
I'm going to bring you a chocolate roulade next time I see you.
Oh my goodness. Look
They
it.
look quite wild, though, don't they?
They
They're
wanted
kind
to
of-
get on film. That's it. They were basically feeling
So
very.
they love these big hedges with ditches, on, you know. So there's sort of tunnels through these hedgerows here
Look at this.
in the ditches, and they go rooting through there.
See, I am being circled. This is
don't worry.
brilliant. Okay.
Sorry.
This is amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, this could be
Okay,
a visitor attraction. So
yeah.
part of it is, you know, offering safaris. People can come and see
Yeah.
what's going on, and then part of it is about really doing things like school visits, really getting kids from these really deprived areas around us, getting them connected with nature, just getting
Yeah.
we're not even trying to teach them anything, we're just giving them fun, running around in
Right.
the fields, catching grasshoppers.
I mean, look at how
Because-
happy that just made me when I saw them.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Seriously, I was squealing.
Exactly.
No pun intended.
And then we're doing community visits for
Right.
people with mental health problems or recovering from this or that. And we're doing a lot of volunteering.
Right.
And we're working very closely with the University of Lincoln, where we've got lots of students coming to do dissertations, field studies, learn field skills, that kind of thing here.
Look, they really are right in the middle though. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay, I mean, it's
They're
amazing.
surrounded by, they're in there.
Yeah.
They're all friends.
Yeah.
So you've got amazing groups coming to visit, from school groups, people writing their dissertations, people who just want to get out in nature, especially for their mental health. I mean, that is fantastic.
Yeah, I know, it's very exciting. So this is all being funded by a lottery grant. So it's called the Lottery Heritage Fund, and people who play lottery are actually contributing to this, which is fantastic.
Right,
So
yes.
a big grant, and in the middle of the slightly less visited part of the farm, we're building something that we're calling the Wild House, which is going to be the centre. So we can house the school visits, we can have community groups there, there's going to be a base for the volunteers, there's going to be a lab for the university students, and our bigger,
Wow.
ever increasing farm office is going to be located there. And that is very exciting because it's a very eco building.
Right.
It's got this passive house premium certification, which means it generates more power than it uses. So it's going to have a solar roof. It's very, very highly insulated. So it's a cool flagship for the project, really.
Okay. Have you, what's the word I'm looking for?
Broken ground.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you broken ground?
We have broken ground, and we've taken down an old grain store, and the new building
Okay.
is on the site of an old grain store. So one of the
Okay.
benefits of rewilding is you get your farmyards back, and you can do
Yeah.
other things with them.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing we're doing with this grant is we're digging 30 new ponds on the estate. So we're doubling the number of ponds we've got, and we're also re-wetting a large part of the estate. So the only way we could farm a lot of the estate, not so much this land, but some other land, which is very, very heavy clay, was with lots and lots of drains and ditches. Lincoln downstream floods quite often if
Right.
we don't. So if we're slowing up water on our land, holding it up,
Yeah.
and it's also cleaner water because we're not putting any sprays on the fields anymore, then that's actually going to reduce the risk of flood. I mean, for us, it's part of our 100-year vision, really.
Right.
Because having an island like Doddington, Wilder Doddington, as an island surrounded by intensive agriculture, it's hopeless as climate changes where the animal's going to go. So we need to connect up places like Doddington with other nature sites.
Yeah.
And so between Lincoln and Newark, a stretch for about 20 miles, there's little pockets of nature all through it. And we've managed to get a collaboration of about 35 landowners together. And the idea is to work out how to create corridors for nature across their land. They're
Yeah.
going to continue producing food, hopefully in a more nature-friendly way, with support from government and private sector investment. But the idea is to create networks for nature, to improve the existing sites for nature and create corridors for
Right.
nature. So it's all about what's called networks, nature recovery
Yeah.
networks. And the whole thing about nature is it's hopeless in islands. So it's bigger, better, more joined up is what everyone says.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And also the landscape recovery, I think it's 30 years, is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is
The
absolute-
longest program out there, yes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Can I just also add that not only is it just wonderful to hear about all that you have done, and also in such a short period of time. I mean, we're talking 3 years. This started in 2021, and it's incredible. But I'm also going to pat myself on the back because I was breathing through that. I didn't climb up a tree. And I kept calm, and actually I really enjoyed that. I have to say, I really enjoyed the curiosity, but the highlight was having Victoria and Camilla come here. That was
brilliant.
just brilliant.
Couldn't
I
plan
mean,
it.
couldn't plan it better. Anyway, wonderful what you've done, and I can't wait to come back year in and year out. And listen, we are good friends, and I know that we'll be seeing a lot more of you and heading out here.
And it will look different every year. That's the fun thing about this, is it's something different every year.
I want to try and find some little oak tree seedlings to show you
Oh, yeah,
on the way
let's go.
back, because
Let's go.
they're pretty spectacular, seeing them coming through without being grazed, because there's not too much grazing going on.
On the way back to the hall, sheltering from the English weather, we made a welcome stop at the latest addition to the Doddington culinary experience, the award-winning Grain Store.
Gosh, I'm at another cafe restaurant. I mean, really, it's a restaurant.
It is a restaurant now, so it operates now on Friday and Saturday evening, big for Sunday lunch, and then more cafe-like during the week. Yeah.
Right. And looking through the menu, I just saw KG, kitchen garden everywhere. So it's a lot of the produce is coming from the kitchen garden.
And our beef particularly features heavily, so lots of Doddington herd beef,
Wow. I mean, so how many covers are there?
180 indoors, and then another 120 or so outdoors if we push it, I'm pleased with progress. And reviews are generally good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also it's beautiful. So somebody came in, wonderful architect, design. You knew what you were wanting to. No.
We changed our minds quite often. And at one point we had the mezzanine on the other side of the building, but then we couldn't have had a balcony. And it's a big room, but the acoustics are really pretty good because we've spent a lot of time and effort on the acoustics. So this is all acoustic felt. The whole roof is made of acoustic felt.
Yeah, because every single table is pretty much taken down below, but I can barely hear it.
And it's a wet Monday,
it's amazing. Yeah.
It's busy for
So it's exciting. You must be both just what you've done. I mean, I thought cafe number 1 was pretty genius, but now you've got a restaurant, bar,
Well, I think the million-dollar question was whether this one would cannibalise too much from the people coming to the farm shop cafe.
Right.
And mercifully, that doesn't seem to have happened too much. There's a little bit of shifting,
Right.
But I think it's settling down, and overall we're definitely got much more sales than we had across. This is replacing a much smaller little casual cafe that we had that was inside the bike shop.
I remember that. Yeah.
Which was just always overcrowded.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of got a slightly different feel, and hopefully slightly different audience.
Yeah.
And people are finding where they're happiest, and they sit alongside each other.
Right. I mean, it's just amazing, though, what you both have done. If you look at what you were given, in one sense, a historic house and some land, farm, whatever, and you thought, no. Of course, you want people to still come and visit heritage, but you've got to also be able to offer lots of other options, I think. And you've done that with the bike shop, with the retail, with the farm shop, with the cafe by the farm shop, with now this big restaurant, and then the huge rewilding project. And on top of that, what's it called? The Wild
House.
The Wild House, which is going to bring in groups.
Yeah.
So when are you ever going to stop?
Well, that's it, as far as I'm concerned. Definitely.
She says, no, I know I'm going to come back here in 5 years' time.
Definitely not.
And
Well,
there's going to be something else.
I promise you.
There's going to be like,
I mean, the thing is, once you've got all these things, you don't just forget about them. You've got to keep refreshing them anyway all the time. So, it's not like, it's not over. It's slightly less exciting, perhaps, to be redecorating or refitting your toilet block or whatever.
Right.
But those, we still have to spend money on these things to keep the interest in the customers and everything.
Well, and to keep it aesthetically looking
exactly,
how it should be.
Exactly.
Well, well done to both of you. It's so exciting and brilliant just to be here.
You must have a look later at the huge painting we've got, because one of our great friends, Miranda Creswell, painted it. And it's of what we think Wilder Doddington might look like in sort of 30 or so years. So when it's wetter, with
all the
lots more,
wetlands.
exactly,
Yeah.
lots more vegetation, and there's some wonderful little detail as well of animals. They're oil paintings that she did in a barn last winter. I mean, up a ladder. So they're fab, actually.
So
yeah.
they are fab.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, you want to put in 30 more ponds.
Yep, so
There-
there are some of the ponds.
Yeah, so there are some of the
Yes.
to be
Yeah.
seen very soon, 30 more
Yeah.
ponds
Yeah.
coming. Well, I'm looking forward to coming back in the next 5 years to see what else has popped up.
Good, Julie, that's a challenge. We'll,
Nothing else.
We'll think of something.
It's been such a delight to visit Dodington and see James and Claire again. And I know they will continue to innovate and expand all that Dodington has to offer. Before we left the grain store, James had one more surprise in store.
So, Julie, this is our famous bookshelf, our Harry Potter bookshelf.
Okay.
And we're going to find 1962, year I was born, and then we find the book which says James
Birch,
And then,
wow.
but it takes us through into the bike shop.
Super clever here. Everything at Doddington is just clever, clever, clever.